All right. Welcome back to the Green Logbook. Give me a second. Let me get all this stuff set up here for this little crash course that I'm going to give. Okay. So, pretty cut and dry, pretty simple. You saw the thumbnail on here. How did I get approved for a master's degree? Okay. That's what this is all about. Um, it is a lengthy process if you're going to apply for the RNE. It can be a lengthy process. It can be kind of a daunting process. You're going to have to go back and forth with your counselor every so often. But let me give you exactly what I did. Pretty simple. And then we're going to go over the CFR, 38 CFR a little bit. We're going to go over M28C 4. So that's what the counselors use in order to get the idea of what they're going to be approving or denying. So let me pull this up here. You all may have seen this, a portion of this already, something like this. I uploaded this video a while back, and I'm just going to touch on a couple things, justifications, things like that, that you may not know, and that'll help you get your foot in the door with a degree plan. All right. So, of course, getting approved for a college degree, what we're going to cover, etc. You can all see this on the video. I'm just going to cut to the chase here. Just understand that VRNE is not an education program. It is an employment program. Okay. The idea with this is to get you good employment that does not affect your VA disabilities. Let me see here. I got it spelled out right here. Not a standalone education benefit, rehab tool, suitable employment match a role with your disability. And again, I hate that word disability, but that's what they use on here. Okay, specifically education track. I'm not talking about anything regarding the employment track or anything like that. So educational track. All right, big thing. When you go and meet with your counselor after you've had your initial counseling, you're going to sit in like this group setting with a bunch of other people that are potentially wanting to use this benefit as well. And then they assign you a counselor. They say, hey, expect an email from your counselor. It's probably going to come from EVA or something like that, eva.va.gov. And then you do the introductions and they give you a call. Don't just say right off the bat that you want to go to college. That is a no-go. All right. Just say, hey, I'll get to it in a second. That you don't want to say that. That's not the first thing you want to say. VRD counselors respond to facts, data, and alignment, not emotion. Okay. So just if you come off and say, hey, I really hate my job. I want to find something else. I really want a bachelor's degree or master's degree. They're going to come back with, hey, you already got a job. And just because you hate it doesn't mean anything else. You found employment, you can find employment again. Simply because you hate it, it's not a go for them. Your degree has to directly support your employment goal. Okay. So for examples, I put up here, want to be a teacher, you'll need a bachelor's or master's and possibly a master's degree, right? So let's say that you are doing something in admin, right? And then you really want to be a teacher, but these admin things are kind of pushing you to your limit and your passion really lies in teaching. Well, you want to be a teacher, you'll need these degrees to do that. And we're going to go get into this here in a second. If you want to be a project manager, bachelor's in business or management fit perfectly, cybersecurity, so on and so forth. You already know. Okay. So you might want this info to start crafting your justification. All right. The counselors work a lot off of justification. This career path allows me to use my skills without aggravating my service-connected disabilities, and it provides long-term stable employment. All right. And then moving on here, this is a piece of my own document or justification here. Based on my experience, limitations, and goals, this human resources and management bachelor's degree is necessary for me to achieve suitable long-term employment in a career that will provide long-term employment and accommodate my disabilities. According to the BLS.gov, that's the Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov, and job postings attached showing a need within this career field, this degree will allow me to transition into a role that's stable, in demand, and sustainable. Okay. Let me see here. Real quick question from the group, from Chris. Chris, your question was, did you do that first group session in person or in Zoom? I did it on Zoom. I was actually at work when I did it. I went to a conference room, empty conference room, and I actually sat there and uh, did the entire info session. There was probably they did a roll call. It's probably 18 people in there, and we just all kept our mics off. Some folks kept their videos off, and we just listened to the person talk about what VRD is, right? So this is like the high level counselor. I don't know who exactly this person is, but it was in Zoom. Let me see. Um, we already covered that. Okay, so they're going to ask you to research your careers. Okay, this is important. You can use stuff like BLS.gov. They're going to ask you to give them information on median pay, job outlooks, typical education requirements. I had to do all that stuff. They essentially gave me homework to do, right? Like, hey, if you really want to use this benefit, if you would really want to use this for a bachelor's or a master's degree or whatever, you're going to have to give us this information. So I opened up a Google document, and everything that I actually found, like every piece of information, statistics, anything like that, I took a screenshot, put it in a document, and then sent it over to my counselor, like in a nice, neat package. The idea with this was to give them the the tightest, cleanest product I could, so that way they could not push back and say, "Hey, we need more of this, we need more of that." Very detailed, probably provided them more information than I needed to, but that helped out my case, I think. And they're going to ask you to find jobs that are average or faster than average job growth. Okay. If the job is not growing, they're not going to approve your thing. Simple as that. Things like cybersecurity, IT, though those are saturated career fields from what I understand, they are still growing. So things like engineering, medical field is always growing. So you may want to look at that. Job search evidence. They asked me for 10 job postings. So I went through you can see Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster, etc. I went through all these different websites to look for these job postings similar to what I want to do. Now, I put human resources up there before. My master's degree that I chose is not human resources. It is in human behavior psychology. And I really want to get in and work with veterans. So that was my part of my justification. And I went regionally. I provided about six job postings, and then nationally, I provided a few more to show that not only is it needed within my area, it's also needed around the nation. Um, Let me see here. And justification. All right, let's get into this justification really quick, because this is the part where I feel like a lot of veterans kind of fall apart a little bit. They just don't know how to justify it. And this is for both via email, via the forms that they send you, and over the phone, because you're going to have to talk to your counselor over the phone, and you have to articulate what you want. And again, they'll just say, "Hey, because I want to get a master's degree." That's not going to fly. They're going to kick that back ASAP. All right. So, for example, I want to become a probation officer. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, most positions require a bachelor's in criminal justice or a related field. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment for human resource specialists is projected to grow 6% from 2024 to 2034, faster than average. Most positions require a bachelor's degree in business or human resources, and 10 job postings for program analysts all listed a bachelor's degree as a minimum qualification. Okay. So that is also a key. Whatever job you're going to be looking at, whatever degree plan you're going to be looking at, the career fields that you provide to your counselor, the minimum requirement needs to be whatever you're going for. So if it's like a bachelor's degree, hey, minimum requirement to get into this career field is a bachelor's degree. For mine, it happened to be a master's degree because it's more advanced, right? So just keep that in mind. Let me see here. So a quick review of this, and then we're going to go into this M28C, and I'll show you what that is exactly. It's what the VS or your VRD counselors actually go or read when deciding whether or not to approve you and how to move forward. So, real quick, career field. What do you want to do within your limitations? Education. Does it require higher education? BLS.gov. Medium pay, job outlook, etc. Job postings. Search 10 jobs that show educational requirements on there. They have to show educational requirements, and your justification. That is the key thing. It has to show that um, it does hinder your service-connected disabilities. Okay. Real quick, going to the chat here. Uh, okay, so Chris Roguski, yeah. So they provide you the form, but it's also explained to me via my counselor. So the thing with my counselor, I had an open discussion with my counselor. I was like, I told he was I wouldn't say he was easier to work with than some of the horror stories I've heard online, and a lot of this stuff is counselor dependent. Okay, they submitted me all the forms. You gotta put all that information on the forms. But I also had an open discussion with him, like, hey, look, here's what I really want to do. My current job is just it's all over the place. I don't know if I'm going to have that job because they let me go. I was a federal employee, and they um I was let go a few times because of this whole Doge drawdown, right? Probationary supervisor, they're like, hey, last in, first out type of deal. And it was really affecting me because I didn't know if I was going to have a job tomorrow. I didn't know if I was going to walk into, hey, sorry, you have to go home. You're on admin leave or whatever. We have to let you go. So it was kind of a pain. So that kind of was a part of the determining factors that I put on my form. Um, Chris Roguski, going to another comment here. Sorry for all the questions. Already seems your experience is different. Yeah, I see that a lot. The experiences are a lot different, and a lot of this is counselor dependent, and it shouldn't be. That's the thing is there should be a standard across, and the standard is this M28C. They should all follow this, but the thing is you need to know how to approach your counselor in order to do this correctly. So let me share that screen here really quick. Where are you at? There you are. Let's go over here. StreamYard. Okay. Okay. This is straight off the Department of Veterans Affairs website. Okay. And let me open my notes here so I know what I'm talking about so I can speak intelligently on this stuff. Okay. Evaluation process. Okay. Um, Again, this is what the VRD counselors go off of when they're going to evaluate you to see if you're eligible for all this stuff. And it would be worth it to take a look at this. And I'll post this link in the description. Let me see if it'll allow me here. Copy. Hush, I'll post it here in the comments here. It's a pretty long freaking link. But there you go. I don't know why I cut it into two, but just look up M28C, just this right here, M28C, and it should bring you to all these different chapters, table of contents, and all that good stuff. Evaluation process. All right, so let's go over this here real quick. Determination for your employment handicap. Let's go down to 1.04 real quick. And specifically, a vocational impairment assessment. The answers to the following questions can assist your veterans resources, VRC, your veteran resource counselor, in determining the presence of a vocational impairment. Is the claimant employable in suitable occupations for which persons without a disability can compete and qualify? Does the claimant possess training and or education that qualifies him for suitable employment? Does the claimant possess job-seeking skills? So with all these, right? I mean, you can read it on your own. They're not going to approve you for something that is beyond the level that they believe you can actually perform. My VRN counselor, we were talking back and forth. We were joking, and he said he has a ton of folks who apply or who want to do a nursing program, partly because, they get the most bang for their buck with nursing, right? But he doesn't approve not even half of them, simply because he looks through all their medical records. You have to release all that stuff to the VRD counselors, or to the VRD program. I don't know exactly who reviews it. I assume it's the VRD counselor. But a lot of them, they're like, yeah, he makes the determination that it's going to make their service connected disabilities even worse, like mental health and all that stuff. So he doesn't approve half of these folks that want to go into nursing or medical fields. So just understand that not everything that you're going to apply for is going to get approved. Let me see. Going on to this next one here. Sources of information for determining the existence. Okay, that's Bravo. Let's go 1004. No, we don't want to look at that. That's nothing. That's something else. Potential impairments. Let's look at that. Potential impairments. The following factors must be considered in determining if vocational impairment exists. So they're going to look at this as well. Effects on your service connected and non service connected disabilities, on employability, physical limitations. If you are looking to get into a physical job and you really can't do it for whatever reason, you have a bad back or whatever, they're probably not going to approve you. They're going to look at all that stuff. Cognitive limitations, we already talked about that. Mobility, we already talked about that. Sensory, chronic pain, deficiencies in education, lack of reliable transportation. They're going to look at that. That's one thing my counselor asked me, like, hey, do you have a way to get back and forth to school if this thing is approved? Yes, I do. He asked me if or do you live in a stable household? Like, is there any kind of issues with my housing? Am I homeless? I'm like, no, I'm not. Am I financially stable? Yeah, he asked me all this stuff. History of unstable work. No, I just retired from the Marine Corps 2 years ago. I've been kind of working, but trying to find where I fit in, actually. So no history of stable work, no history of incarceration, nothing like that. So understand that they're going to ask you all this stuff. Moving on here. Where's that other one I was reading? Oh, comprehensive. Here we go. 103. Comprehensive approach to evaluation. And where's that one? Tools for initial evaluation. A VRC or contract counselor may conduct some elements of initial evaluation. However, only a VRC, your counselor, may determine a claimant's entitlement. We already know that. A comprehensive evaluation for a claimant must include, but is not limited to, the following activities. And this is all that they're going to consider when looking at your entire evaluation process: development and analysis of information necessary to determine the claimant's physical, mental, social, personal, and employment circumstances. I mean, you all can read it on here. 103. Let me see if there's any things that stand out that maybe you need to know. Analyze extent to results in vocational. Okay. Where's that one? I thought I had it highlighted on here. Let me find it. Comprehensive, feasibility, overcoming. Let's go to 106. If you haven't already done so, I would bookmark this. Thought I had it bookmarked on here. Let's go back to 104. The answers to the following questions can assist the VRC in determining the presence of a vocational impairment. Did I already touch on this one? No. So, simple thing is, your justification and knowing what you can and can't do, what your service limitations are, And I know there's more on here. I'm trying to find it. I thought I bookmarked it a little bit, but maybe it's tools for initial evaluation. No, it's not. But this is exactly what they go off of. The old one was, I think it was M38R or M28R. This is the newer one. Let me see here. And for folks who are, I've gotten a lot of questions on Facebook as well on folks who are looking to re-enter the rehabilitation program. And let me bring that up on the screen here. So folks who have maybe applied, gotten denied, and then there is, let me pull it up on here. Make sure I got the right thing for you all. Add to the stage. Okay. Re-entrance into a rehabilitation program. So you can appeal this stuff, right? You can reapply, but I think they're going more towards the appeal process now. Re-entrance into rehabilitation to the point of employability following a determination of rehabilitation. A veteran who has been found rehabilitated under provisions may be provided an additional period of training or services only if the following conditions are met. The veteran has a compensable service-connected disability. So most likely, if you already fall under the VRD, if you already get approved for it the first time around, you most likely have this service-connected disability already. Current facts, including any relevant medical findings, establish that the veteran's service-connected disability has worsened to the extent that the effects of the service-connected disability considered in relation to the other facts preclude him or her from performing the duties of occupation for which the veteran previously was found rehabilitated for, or the occupation for which the veteran previously was found rehabilitated under Chapter 31, which is VRD, is found to be unsuitable on the basis of the veteran's specific employment handicap and capabilities. Okay. So that's what that is. You can always reapply. You can always appeal. There's been a ton of folks who reached out to me. Hey, I got denied. I got denied. Well, appeal that thing. Just reapply for it. But maybe have somebody else look at your application. Have somebody else look at your justification without giving out too much PII. Maybe somebody who has some kind of experience, who has gone through this process to maybe help you out a little bit. It's not an easy process by any means. However, the justification, I think, is the key, and connecting the job that you want to do with um, your educational track that doesn't hinder your service-connected disabilities is the key. Um, Again, it's all counselor dependent. A lot of it is, and it should not be. They should all go via this M28C. However, if you read that M28C and you know exactly what they know, what they're reading, it'll give you a leg up on this. And that's exactly what I did when I was going through and applying for my master's. I I made it a point to make it as easy as possible for my counselor, and I think that's why we kind of hit it off a little bit better than others. Everything was titled, itemized, same way I did my BDD, my VA disability claim. Everything was titled, itemized. I provided more information than I needed at some point. He asked me for um, 10 job postings. I gave him like 12, a couple here regionally, a couple out in, uh, nationally, just in case I wanted to move over to Virginia or Hawaii or something like that. So just understand that. Are there anybody got any questions about this stuff? It ain't hard, but it is hard. I understand that. Let me share some links up here for you all so you know where to find this. This is the induction into rehabilitation program, subsection 21.284. Let's see. This is this. Okay, Ronan Bruv asks, now should all this info be made available on the very first appointment? What info are you talking about? Which what does all this info mean? And very first appointment, do you mean your initial counseling with everyone involved? or just your first appointment with your actual assigned VRE counselor? So there's different counselors. There's the first one for your initial counseling. There's the one that you actually have. And if you by chance get denied or you have a bad experience with your counselor, on your appeals process, you can ask to be assigned a different counselor. I've also gotten the question of, hey, what if I already have a job when when I'm applying for VRE? Good question. Um, it doesn't matter. I had a job when I applied for VRE. I had a bachelor's degree when I applied for VRE. Though I will say, like I mentioned, my job was not the most stable. It was a federal employment job, and I let my counselor know this thing is really getting to me because I don't know if I'm going to walk in and have a job tomorrow the way that they're running these things. Frankly, it's affecting me mentally. It's I've there was a thing with the lighting. I know I put that in there too. So if lighting affects you, I could not turn off. We had this fluorescent lighting. I could not turn off the lighting. I when I unhooked one of the light bulbs for some reason it was connected to maybe it's the way the electricity was going. It's connected to a few other light bulbs, and I've got like photos and video of this thing, and it sucked. It like gave me tunnel vision when I was sitting there under the fluorescent lights. So I was wearing sunglasses as I was working, you know, looking like a cool guy, fucking working at my desk. But I did it for a reason. And at one point, I thought, you know what? I wonder if I started actually researching shades, like something to put over, like an umbrella shade for my desk, because I was at this cubicle. And I'm like, this is silly, man. This is like, there's accommodations that they can give you, but I'm like, this is getting to be too silly. And it was really kind of giving me headaches, and that contributes to migraines and things like that. So all those things that may affect your service-connected disabilities that are already in your medical record and your VA disability record, you need to outline those things when you talk to your counselor if it is really affecting you. I think that's one of the big reasons why they looked at my file, even though I had a job already, even though I had a bachelor's degree already, and then they approve the masters. As simple as that. Not everybody's situation is going to be as simple as that. I understand that. There's going to be a lot of kickback. You're going to get I I get the idea, I get the feeling just reading online that a lot of these folks in these positions, like the gatekeepers, right, um, don't want to easily approve these things. For whatever reason, I don't know. It's not coming out of their paycheck. I don't know why they're not approving it. But the thing is, you need to know your actual the regs. You need to know this M28C. Read that thing, and if it applies to you, just give them the reference. It's the one I was looking. Let me see if I can find it here. Section B. Let me see. Part 4, Section B. Let me pull that beast up here real quick. Part 4, Section B. Okay, this is one I wanted to show you. I was looking for this one earlier. Again, going back to M28C, and I wanted to highlight. Let's just lose it again. Here it is. I wanted to highlight this one here, employment handicap criteria. Okay. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay. An employment handicap is present when all the following exists. This is one part that stood out to me when I was actually doing my research and applying, because I had heard so much horror stories about this stuff about, hey, the amount of people that told me, hey, yeah, you want to get approved for a master's degree. They won't approve you because you already have a bachelor's, because you already have a job. I figured, you know what? Let me just try this. And I read this piece here. An employment handicap is present when all the following exist. The claimant has a vocational impairment. Okay. A vocational impairment. The claimant's service connected disability contributes in substantial part to the impairment. The claimant has not overcome the effects of his or her impairment of employability through employment in or qualifying for employment in an occupation consistent with his or her abilities, aptitudes, or interests. So, okay, or interests. Now, don't just go in there and say, "Hey, I don't like my job anymore. It sucks." You got to have a reason for it. Like, yeah, it doesn't interest you, but why doesn't it interest you? Does it affect your service connected disabilities? Is there another thing that you may be interested in that can give you a fulfilling career that does not hinder your service connected disabilities that you would be interested in pursuing? If so, what is that thing? And does that thing require higher education? Okay. And if so, give me documentation, proof that it requires higher education, and they'll look at your stuff. All right. Let me see here. Going to the comments really quick. Had to put on my collar shirt. I had a meeting right before this, so had to look presentable, right? Can't be wearing a t-shirt all day. Sergeant Stacking. Hey, welcome, Sergeant Stacking. So he says, I have a big time sensitivity to light as well. I have like 20% tint on my windshield, and I still need sunglasses. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like there's like the blue light filter on the computers. So when I was working at the federal employment thing, at the federal employment job, they had all these things that you could, I requested. There was like the blue light filter. There was at one point I had requested like special glasses, to like dim everything, but I don't look like freaking Ray Charles sitting there at my desk. Um, but they wouldn't approve that. They said I had to go through my insurance for any kind of specialized classes or anything. So yeah, it's a pain, and that's why I keep the lights low in here. I have lights kind of pushed up against the wall, so not directly on me. It does kind of give me the tunnel vision, right? So that was a big reason that actually went into my application for VRNE. Yeah, like the lights are just messing me up. There's no way to turn them off. If I turn off one of the lights, it's going to turn off like the whole side of the building. And for some reason, when I unplugged or I unscrewed one of my fluorescent lights, a few of them went off the way it was wired. I don't know. So let me see here. Yeah, same thing, man. And if you're applying for VRNE, make sure as long as that's in your VA disability claim, you can't just say it. It has to be connected to your VA disabilities. Um, Put that in your application. Ronan Bruff. Let's see here. I meant how prepared should I be on the initial VRNE meeting that has been scheduled? Okay. Okay. So first contact. All right. So first contact with your counselor. The first contact with your counselor, he's going to ask you, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to get done? Right? What exactly? What do you want to go to school for? Um, I would say, don't dig yourself a hole when you start with this by saying the wrong things. Like, hey, I just want to go to school. I just want to get a master's degree. No, don't say that. Um, Prepare yourself by saying, hey, by thinking about. I won't tell you what to say, but thinking about what you're currently doing and thinking about where you want to be, what you want to do instead, and then everything in between there. Why doesn't this current position work for me based on this M28C? Because that's what they're going to go off of. Take the emotions out of it. Like I don't like my coworkers or the job sucks. It's too much paperwork. Whatever. Take the emotions out of that and actually connect it with the M28C, the actual reference that they go off of. I would come equipped with your VA disability issues, your current position issues. What else did I come equipped with? Potential routes that you want to go in and how that's not going to hinder your VA disability. So I came equipped with a few of these pieces. I kind of already knew where I wanted to go into the psychology side of things. So, and again, I had an open dialogue with my counselor. And I'm like, look, here's what's going on. My job is, they're it's really affecting my mental health. They're I don't know if they're going to let me go or not. The light situation, um, the some folks are a little hard to work with, and it's aggravating me. And I have to go to see a doctor about this stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And it's all documented in my VA disability claim, and that I think gave me a leg up. But as far as how prepared you should probably know where you are as far as career wise, where you want to be, and the steps to get there. Probably having read the M28C as well to see if maybe any of those things would affect it. And don't say the wrong thing. Don't just say, I want to go to school. Hopefully that helps. If you want more in depth information, man, let me know. I'm happy to help you out and do some research. Let's see here. Going to table of contents here. I see your question, Chris Roguski. Hope I'm saying that right. I'm going to get you that right now. I know I saw it here. Is it? I'll find it for you, Chris. I know I'm looking at the M28C table of contents right now. I'm going through all of them right now. Um, Claimants, appellate's rights, responsibility, no. Eligibility, entitlement, evaluation process. Yeah, I'm almost certain it says in this M28 because that's what they have to go off of. Now, some of that kind of branches out into the 38 CFR, but I don't know if that has anything to do with the physical requirements for a job. Um, but I know the physical requirements for the job is listed in this M28C. However, here, let me give you all the actual table of contents here so you can follow along with that. Um, Table of contents M28C. This is updated August 26, 2025. It used to be the M28R. I don't know how they went down, but there you go. No perspective. Welcome, welcome. Glad you can make it. Just giving a little class out of the norm, really. I usually do like veterans and coffee around this time, but I thought, you know what, learned so much information on this VRNE stuff. I just got approved, and I'm supposed to start here on Monday with my master's. Why not pay it forward to the rest of the folks? No use in keeping the information myself to myself, right? Chris Roguski, follow up on that question. Do you have? Hmm. Um, Give me an example, man. Give me an example. So the example I used was like human resources. Initially, I had asked for an MBA, and they're like, "Why do you need an MBA?" And I'm like, "Well, I wanted to get into this and that." And then they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to approve that." And I'm like, "Okay, well, pump the brakes. I really want to get into this." So it was kind of again the open dialogue with my counselor. But give me an example of what you mean, man. Because if the specific job that you want does not require the degree that you're seeking, they're not going to approve it. At least that's what I got from my counselor. Because when I brought up human resources, he's like, "You can do human resources with a bachelor's degree, with a certificate." I'm like, "Well, I don't have a human resources bachelor's degree." So, but then I went a different route and went the psychology route with the master's. Yeah, give me an example on that, man. Um, Bubba Smith, awesome, man. $10 an hour. Yeah. So definitely bookmark this uh, M28C, and I'm gonna help you out there, Chris, as well, and see if I can. Or was it Chris that asked about it? Let's see about the physical requirements for the job. Physical requirements for the job. There's another thing on here that mentioned if you could not make it to your appointment. Trying to find that for you as well. You would have to submit a letter within 10 days to your counselor. And I'll get you that reference here in a second. Appellate rights. Eligibility, entitlement. I just realized I'm going through all this stuff and you guys can't even see what the hell I'm doing. Let me let me add this on here. Probably help out. Share screen. Share yo. There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to find it for you, Chris. I know I read it here before. I've been reading this on and off for quite some time. It says, "I'm one of those nursing degree people. Goal is psych nurse practitioner. Resources like Department of Labor list nurse practitioner requirements as one group." Hmm. Okay. I would keep it if I were you, man. I'd keep it generalized. I would. I mean, you can always. I don't know what exactly degrees they require for nursing. I've not looked into that career field, but I mean, you can bring it up to your counselor and explain, "Hey, I want to go for nursing," and just provide the what was it? The documentation for nursing in general. But when you look at the schooling, if it's under nursing, go for the, what is it? Psych? Yeah, psych nurse practitioner. In that case, I think it might work out for you. Now, there's nothing specifically that I've read in this M28C that says sub degrees or anything like that. In this case, I think it might be counselor dependent how you justify it. Yeah, if it was me doing it, hey, I just want a nursing degree, specialize in this, and just kind of submit to the counselor, hey, nursing jobs around my area. That's what I would do. Supplies. There's also supplies. I didn't mention, and I got a few folks that asked about it on Facebook as well. Supplies. Now, if you require things that for your position, say you want to be, I don't know, a uh, shit, I'll use my own. I'm doing a human behavior psychology degree, master's degree. What does that require? It requires a computer, probably the books. They're going to purchase that stuff for me. I'm requesting a new chair, new table, all this stuff. Um, I think I shared it on the Facebook group as well. My counselor just emailed me, "Hey, do you want a Windows or a MacBook laptop?" And I was a little surprised. I'm like, "Oh, well, MacBook works. I'm used to working off Macs anyway, so that'll work for me." So don't be afraid to ask for the stuff as long as you can justify why you need it. Like if you're going to be, I don't know, like a film director or something, you need a camera, you need computer, editing software, all that stuff. Don't be afraid to ask for that stuff. Okay? If you need that stuff for your career field, for your schooling. So, I mean, I requested a desk, a printer, a laptop, um, an ergonomic chair, um, a better monitor, for when I'm working at home. Because working off the laptop, unless it's like a big laptop, I gotta wear my glasses and like the lighting sucks. So that's why I have this monitor here in front of me. So probably a better monitor because this one's kind of old. But yeah, it's called the tech package, and you can request all that stuff. And on top of that, your monthly housing allowance. So pretty sick. Any other questions we got here? I will help you look it up right here on this live stream. I will bring it up on here. Uh, they won't pay for vehicles, though, from what I'm seeing. Purchase or rental of vehicles for claimants participating in VRNE is prohibited. Firearms authorization for reimbursement of purchase of firearms is addressed during evaluation and planning with the claimant. Potentially, they could purchase the firearm if it's required for your job, right? Um, no service dogs can be purchased. Protective articles or uniforms will be provided at VA expense when the facility requires all individuals to wear this type of clothing to pursue training or employment. Uh, Upgrading to a new computer system. That's here. Actually, I just realized again that you guys can't read this. Upgrading to a new computer system. This is where they give you a computer for you if you need it. Mine's coming complete with all the software in it. So if I need software, um, A case manager may authorize assistance for a veteran's childcare if the case manager determines that childcare is necessary for the implementation or continuation of the claimant's rehabilitation program as outlined in 38 CFR 21.156. Okay, so there's a chance that you can get childcare covered under your VRNE under Section K childcare services. Textbook rentals covered, electronic textbook rentals covered. So, yeah, that's a lot of good stuff in here. And you'd never know it if you don't, if you don't open this M28C up. Sensory aids and prosthesis, modifications to improve access, mobility aids, vehicles, firearms, um, providing services or equipment or special programs, training in the home, farm cooperative training, employment services, self-employment, independent living, all this good stuff. Flight training, they do the flight training thing. So services, supplies, and equipment. So again, you can request all the stuff as long as you can justify it. If you can't justify it, and if you can't justify it effectively, don't expect it to be approved. Okay, there's a reconsideration of decisions. The claimant is required to provide new and relevant evidence before the VA will reconsider the decision for the final denied claim. Um, I mean, you're going to want to anyway if it was denied the first time around, right? Incomplete claim, period of submission of evidence. Yeah, so all this stuff. Your VRNE, your VRCs go through all this stuff, and I think if you're applying for a benefit that is so as good as this VRNE, you definitely need to do yourself a favor and read this stuff. Chris Roguski. Where's my coffee? Oh, shit, it's right here. I had a different experience than what you are describing. I never interacted with a counselor directly, just an assistant who was teleworking from Arizona. I'm curious what the time frame was when you interacted with this VRC or this assistant. From what I understand, when I applied, it was in July of 2025. And around that time, end of 2024, 2025, they were, especially during like this whole Doge drawdown where they're letting people go, each case manager was just bombarded with cases. My own VRC had about 150 cases under his belt right now that he was working on. Um, so they were farming out a lot of these cases, a lot of these folks who were applying to VRE to other places around the country. So I got shifted. I started out with one counselor who was located in it was like in Arizona maybe, and then like a week later, I'm getting a hold of all the information, and then I get an email saying they're transferring me over to one in California, and I'm like, okay, well, that's before I even had that initial conversation. Like I was just assigned somebody, and then I got the email. So they were switching folks around. That might have been it. I don't know if it was an assistant or what. Um, when I don't know if your intent is to reapply, but or submit an appeal, but I would request to speak with a counselor, specifically a counselor. I'm not sure. I'm not aware of assistants doing the thing. We probably had the same kind of experience where they had me going to somebody in Arizona, but then they switched me over to somebody in California. Um, yeah, I mean, are you applying, reapplying right now or appealing? I'm wondering what your status is. 66T Love. Hey, welcome, 66T Love. Yes, it is pretty cool. I think you were talking about the childcare that VRNE could potentially cover. Again, justification, right? Justification. The entire purpose of this whole thing is to make sure that you can successfully complete the requirements to get you into a new field that does not hinder your VA disabilities, your service connected issues, right? Again, I hate the word disabilities. So, yes, it is cool that VRNE could potentially cover childcare under that Section K, childcare. Now, again, it doesn't specify it, so a lot of it is counselor dependent. They're the ones that have the final say, so you would have to justify it. If maybe you are losing too much time and you cannot get all the classes in, if you're going full time, you're gonna have to, have your butt in the seat. If you cannot have your butt in the seat as required, and you may be falling behind on your classes, or you think you may be falling behind your classes, make that known to your counselor. Let them know, hey, I can't. I need childcare for this. As long as you can justify it, you can ask for it. It may not always get approved, but you don't know until you ask. If I can get a master's degree in just like doing YouTube videos and like this stuff, I don't know how to justify it. There's no master's degree for it. Maybe film or something, but they'd buy everything if I could justify it. The camera, the equipment, the lighting, they'd buy everything. All right, stand by. Any other questions we got going on? Let's see here. Another good one here is I'll put another link up here. This is the VARNI School Certifying Official Handbook. This is exactly what they go off of. So if you're wondering what your VR and e-counselor is actually reading when they're approving or disapproving your stuff, this is another one. School. Okay. So getting approved for, oh, what happened here? Yes, VRNI is a sleep prevent. The Civ Div, welcome, Clay. How are you? Haven't talked to you in quite some time, man, since we had you on the Military Retirement Podcast. Glad you can be here. Yes, VRNI is a sleeper benefit. It is. And I don't know if anybody out there agrees with this. It is just my kind of feeling that I have that VRNE is such a good benefit that it won't be around for a long time. Now, again, there's nothing in writing. There's nothing that I've seen that might affect this. What I'm saying right now, just a thought, because we do have the GI Bill, because the VRNE does provide you could provide you a college degree if you go that route. Monthly allowance for housing, which mirrors the E5 with dependents BAH. The tech package, you saw it here. They're getting me a MacBook, and they're buying my books and everything else I need for this psychology master's degree. Such a good benefit that they're looking to cut costs in any which way, that I firmly believe that this benefit is not going to be around for a long time. So if you can get in now and utilize this benefit. If you live somewhere like I live in Southern California, the oh god, the E5 with dependents BAH is almost 4,000 a month. And all I have to do is go to class and sit there, what, twice a week? At least this semester, twice a week. And I qualify for that. So you all please, if you haven't already done so, jump on this. Such a good benefit, just like good old the Sib Dev over here mentioned. It is a sleeper benefit. And the thing is, I have not touched my GI Bill. That's another thing. When I put it on the Facebook group, the military retirement group, somebody mentioned that they got disapproved for VRNE because their counselor mentioned they still had 5 months of their GI Bill left. BS, man. I call BS on that for a reason. I have yet to touch any of my GI Bill. I have not touched. I have 33 months. I've given 3 month, 1 month to each of my kids just to keep the GI Bill alive in whatever e benefits. I've not touched any of my GI Bill. And even if you have touched your GI Bill, you can always ask for a retroactive induction, which means that they evaluate your stuff and they essentially refund you your GI Bill time once you get approved for VRNE, once you get into an actual track with VRNE. It's called retroactive induction. You know what? I'll put it on here so folks know what exactly it's called. Retroactive induction. I'm over here sharing my own stuff here. Such a good benefit. Uh, 660 Love, you asked, what is the VRNE job placement percentage? I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I've not looked at the stats. As far as I know, when they actually give you, at least for me, when when my degree ends, I think that's where the VRNE ends. I'm not going the job placement route. I'm going the educational route. So, I mean, I will, in true Marine Corps fashion. I don't know, but I will find out. That that's the answer, right? For right now, I don't know, but I will find out. VRNE job placement. I'm writing that down. Job placement. Great question. Great question. 660 Love. Okay. SibDev says, yes, you know your stuff. What's really cool about post 9/11 and VRNE, the VA will restore your post 9/11. Absolutely. One of my best friends got 100% of his post 9/11 restored after applying to VRNE, and he was about finished with his undergrad, now using post 9/11 for a grad. Hell yes, dude. Use that. Hey, I don't know how to stress this enough, and I'm sure folks will echo this, but you served, you raised your right hand, you earned these benefits. If you don't, just like muscles, right? Just like your body, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? If you don't use these benefits, you you're you're going to lose them. They're not going to be around forever. At least I don't think. So definitely use that. And if they can do the retroactive induction, just like the Civ Div mentioned, and you get all your stuff back, then you can reuse your GI Bill. I know I also have a buddy of mine who did the same thing, asked for a retroactive induction. I think he was down to like 10 months of GI Bill left, and he got approved for the VRNE. They looked at all this stuff and they gave him back the majority. I don't know if it's 100%, but the majority of his GI Bill. So now he can use that for something else. Using VRNE, he already had his bachelor's, using VRNE for his master's, and then use the rest of his GI Bill for whatever he wants to use it on the back end. So excellent stuff, man. Excellent stuff. So yeah, that's what it is. So VRNE, please use it. Again, I got approved for my master's degree, and I'll go through this real quick one more time, just to kind of let you know. Let me add this one to the stage here. Where the hell did I put that thing? Here it goes. Just to kind of give you a heads up of what I did and how I formed my justifications when I was doing my VRNE. Where you at? Here we go. Bamses. Okay. One more time here. VRNE, not a standalone education benefit. It's a rehab tool, suitable employment. It will match a role with your service connected disabilities. Okay. And let me see here. Uh, you have to show them justification that whatever job you want to get into, there's a degree that is necessary for that job. So if you want to be a teacher, you'll need a bachelor's or possibly a master's. That's your foot in the door there. Want to be a project manager, a bachelor's in business or management fits perfectly. Okay. So you're going to have to find a job, these jobs that you present to your actual counselor that show that these jobs that you want actually require these degrees. The justification, okay, based on my experience, limitations, and goals, this human resources and management bachelor's degree is necessary for me to achieve suitable long-term employment in a career that will provide long-term employment and accommodation and accommodates my disabilities. According to BLS.gov, statistics and job postings attached showing a need within this career field, this degree will allow me to transition into a role that's stable, in demand, and sustainable. They're going to want to know that the job that you're applying for, the not the job, the career field that you want to get into is going to have future growth. If it doesn't have future growth, they're not going to approve that for you. Um, let me see here. Research and careers. They're going to ask you to research all this stuff. You're essentially going to have to do all the homework for them. They're not going to do it for you. You have to provide everything. And the way I did it, I opened up a Google Doc, took a bunch of screenshots when they asked me to research the careers and come up with job postings, come up with the evidence. I did just that. You attach that to the form that they give you. I can't remember the name of the form, but they're going to provide you a form where you actually fill all the information out, and you just make those attachments on the back end with an attachment to the email. Research and careers, BLS.gov. You're going to have to look at the median pay, the job outlook, typical education requirements, average or faster than average growth. Again, they're not going to approve something that doesn't have average or faster than average growth. This is coming straight from my VRNE counselor. Um, I just asked him, hey, look, what exactly, like, what's going to help me out here? He's like, look, as long as the job has some future growth in the next like 10 years, you're good. So that's exactly what I look for on BLS.gov. And I made a whole video on this, like the VRNE masterclass, where I actually sat there and I went through BLS.gov. I went through all the stuff to show you exactly what I was looking for. There's like a little sun on BLS.gov that shows you bright outlook. Click on that, job search evidence. They asked me for 10 job postings. I submitted like 12 of them. It was both regionally and nationally. I searched sites like Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster, whatever. It doesn't have to be the job that you want to get into after you get your career. It just has to be a job within that career field, within that college degree, not necessarily one that you actually want to apply to. And of course, it has to show that it requires whatever degree that you're seeking. Let me see some justification examples. Again, I want to become a probation officer. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, most positions require a bachelor's in criminal justice or a related field. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment for human resources specialists is projected to grow 6% from 2024 to 2034, faster than average. Most positions require a bachelor's in business or human resources. And 10 job postings for program analysts, all listed a bachelor's degree as a minimum qualification. So easy. And these are slides that I just took off of my video that I made, that VRNE masterclass, where I actually sat down and went through every single site, every single piece that I did. But essentially, this is how I got my foot in the door with a master's degree. Even after I told my VRNE counselor that I already had a job, I was currently in a job when I applied, and I currently had a bachelor's degree. So I heard some horror stories out there like, hey, they're denying folks because you already have a bachelor's degree. Doesn't matter as long as you can justify what you want to do effectively, based on the M28C. Very, very. It's crucial that you actually read that. Doesn't matter if you have a bachelor's. Doesn't matter if you. I don't know if you hate your job because it hinders your service connected disability. That is your justification right there. Why does it hinder your service connected disability? Why do you need to go a different route? So these are all things you need to consider. But these are all things that I did. And again, I itemized everything as tightly as I could. I made everything as easy as possible for my VRNE counselor. I did all the work for him as much as I could. I even asked him up front. I was like, "Hey, is there anything else you need from me to make this a little bit easier for you?" Not that I was like kissing his ass or anything, but I'm like, I just wanted to make sure that my file that I was submitting, my evaluation was going to be like no questions asked. This is what he needs, and as quick as possible to get it approved. I try to make it as easy for this dude as possible. Let's see what we got here. Let's move this. Any questions about that? About this VRNE stuff? I feel like I'm giving a class here. Well, I guess I am giving a class, like a PowerPoint class. I haven't done that in quite some time. Shaking all these cobwebs and giving a class here. And you know what? I'll share this as well. I'll share my email is thegreenlogbook@gmail.com. If you need assistance in doing some kind of justification or maybe just somebody to review your stuff, hit me up. Hit me up. I read about this stuff all the time. Um, there's no reason why I should keep all the information to myself. Big reason why I'm doing these things here. If you need somebody to read your stuff or just, second set of eyes, feel free to hit me up, thegreenlogbook@gmail.com. Be happy to help out. If it's something more in depth, well, it's going to take a little bit more time. I have another route to do that. But if it's something light or a simple question that maybe you didn't want to ask here or maybe on the back end, hit me up, thegreenlogbook@gmail.com, and I will assist you how I can. I think more people need to utilize this benefit. I really do. Again, I feel like it might go away at some point in time. Andres Velasquez, 3839. Shit, I'm going crazy. 3971. May retirement. Congratulations on your decision to retire, man. It's going to be a great, great journey. Priorities. Number one, CMP appointments. Absolutely. Definitely don't miss those. Prepare for those things. I can make a whole nother video on CMP appointments, man. Apply to jobs in comms cybersecurity. Man, that's a good field. Very saturated, but good field. With my disability percentage, further look into new possible careers to reinvent myself. There is you can definitely pivot a lot, especially if you have a disability rating. Get 10%, and that opens the door to VRNE. And VRNE, you can do. It's like a kid in middle school. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to do this. That's the position we're in right now. What do you want to do that doesn't hinder your service connected disabilities? Well, I want to do this, and here's why, and here's how. Well, get that 10%, man, and that opens that door for you. That's exciting, though, man. Congratulations, Andres Velasquez. That's exciting. CMP appointments that, yeah, definitely don't miss those, man. And I don't know where you're located, but when I was here in SoCal, they sent me 3 hours away to go get a CMP appointment simply because that was the only person, the only doctor within the network that did it for an optometry appointment. It was a 30-minute optometry appointment. They sent me 3 hours away to go get it, damn near like past 29 Palms. I was like, really? There's nobody else? Like, what if I need to reschedule? And I was told never, never try to reschedule a CMP appointment because when I asked about rescheduling, these guys were like, "Oh, we can fit you in, but it's going to be like 5 months down the road." And at that point, I would have busted the clock on the BDD claim. So I'm like, no, no, I'll drive the 3 hours. And I had to ask my wife to take off work as well because they were going to dilate my eyes, and I wasn't going to drive 3 hours back with my eyes dilated. So I needed somebody there. But yeah, man, that's a good plan, dude. Keep that plan. Make sure I don't have any other appointments I gotta get to, man. I'm over here live streaming. I don't know if I have any other appointments. No, I'm good. I'm good until this afternoon. Hell yeah. So I'm curious, folks in the comments, what degree plan are you looking to get into? What kind of career fields are you looking to get into? What is the ultimate goal? I'll give you some background here. And you can really pivot, just like this guy Andres Velasquez mentioned. You can really pivot with this whole VRNE thing. Because I did military justice when I was in the Marine Corps, 20 years, doing investigations, military justice, all this stuff. Got out, became a contractor with Surface Warfighting Development Center, then became a facilities director with the Navy, so GS-13. And then I completely pivoted to like, hey, I want to do something completely different. Let's try out psychology. Let's see if I can get my foot in the door with like the VA to help out veterans and getting a little bit better. So I completely did, I was in that friggin' warrior stance and I completely did put my leg back and I did a pivot. So, I always liked psychology. That was always in my wheelhouse. Kind of had to know about psychology, doing like military justice and stuff like that. But I figured take it a whole different route and go in, see if I can get my foot in the door and help veterans out with some issues that they're having. So that's the route. So you can completely pivot, just like the comment said. You can completely pivot from what you were doing in the military to what you did after, and then what you're going to do in your career field of choice later on. Yeah. This is awesome. Chris Roguski. My goal is nurse practitioner with intent to work in the veteran healthcare space and be able to use my experience to be a relatable source of help to our people. I think that's powerful, man. I really do. I commend you for that. I would much rather speak when I go into like to a doctor or a therapist. I would much rather me personally speak with somebody who has some kind of tie to the military, like has served in the military, than not. That's just me. Like, hey, they understand the experiences, the ups and downs of military life and how that's affecting me. That's who I want to talk to. So I commend you, man. That's great. Just with the nurse practitioner thing, just make sure that you justify that effectively. Going back to what my counselor mentioned to me, how he denies a lot of folks requesting to be nurses because he finds that it does affect. There's stuff in their medical record that may affect their mental health, and he's like, yeah, it's not a good fit for them, so he just kind of denies them. Um, he went more in depth a little bit on that without mentioning any names or PII or anything like that. Just when I asked him about it, because I did have it in the back of my mind, I was like, hey, what about law school? And I've seen people who get approved for law school. I was thinking, what about law school? But I'm like, no, no, I did it for, I did military justice for 20 years, man. I'm like, I'm kind of like lawed out, dude. Like getting an LLM and stuff. No, I'm lawed out, dude. So go a completely different path. I love that, man. And Chris Roguski, I'm curious, man. What is your current experience? Like, what are you pivoting from to go to nurse practitioner? Like, what did you do in the military? Let's see here. All right, on, man. EOD officer. When'd you retire? Marine Corps, Chief Officer three. Yeah, Marine Corps. Okay. Were you out in? Is it? I think I drove by the EOD folks over by. I did. I was at TBS at one point. I drove over by Camp Barrett. I saw a bunch of EOD folks out there. Okay, so you retired September 2024. Okay, so almost the same. I retired in December of 2023. EOD. Where'd you retire out of? So same, man. That's awesome. I was also a Chief Warrant Officer three. Very cool. In the Marine Corps. Very cool. So we all did the TBS over there. Pendleton. Okay, so Pendleton. Were you the one over on Facebook that was asking about it? I think living in Fallbrook or something. Yeah, Pendleton, man. Yeah, it was okay. Right on, man. Yeah. So yeah, good stuff, man. Great to meet you, dude. Um, yeah, Fallbrook's a nice spot, man. I like that out there. I'm more I'm closer to central San Diego myself. I didn't want to make the drive. I had a Marine who worked for me when I was over at Miramar, and this dude was driving from Marietta to Miramar, and I'm like, why would you do that? And he got to the point where it was just too much for him, and he ended up purchasing a home closer to central San Diego. So it's a drive, and I know a lot of people make that drive from like Temecula, Marietta down, even like to Naval Base San Diego when I was over at Surface and Mine Warfighting Development Center. It's crazy drives that people make, man. I can't stand sitting in traffic. I had to buy something closer, man. I can't stand sitting in traffic more than like 30 minutes. I've been there. I've done that. I lived in Hawaii for a while, and there's like three highways there, and they get pretty full on traffic, man. So not a fan of that. But yeah, no, big ups to you, man. Nurse practitioner from EOD officer to nurse practitioner. Damn, that's a hell of a pivot, man. But that's good. More power to you. More power to you. Getting into the healthcare space. That's one that's going to be future proof, man. I was just doing research yesterday on future proof careers, future proof degrees and careers, and a lot of the stuff that came up was like electrical engineering, aerospace engineering, because they want to keep things in house with the in the U.S. Right. There was doctors and of course nurses because that's always going to be a growing field. We're always going to need people in the healthcare field. Um, what else is growing? And then security, cybersecurity, right? I mean, that's always been that's in recent years that's been growing a lot. So I think good choice, man. Good choice of pivoting into healthcare and helping folks out. A lot of schooling, though. Have you researched that? Like how much schooling is involved with nurse practitioner? Yeah, I'll do this for anybody who, if anybody wants to jump on and talk about their VRNE stuff that they have going on, feel free. I'm putting the link in here, like I normally do with my veterans and coffee thing. Like I normally do with my veterans and coffee thing, dropping a link here. If you want to jump on the live stream and talk a little bit about what you have going on with your VRNE journey, with how you're going to pivot into a new career, questions about VRNE, we can research it together. If I can answer it, I will figure it out and find out for you. But there's a link to the live stream if you want to jump on, if anybody wants to jump on there. Let's see. So very cool, man. Great stuff. I'm glad you're pivoting into that. There's definitely a need for nurse practitioners, and just got to make sure that you justify that the right way. See, going to these old. Oh man, yeah, I missed a bunch of comments up here. Ronan Bruv, hey, good to see you in here, man. Let's do this VRNE channel, dude. Where's the channel? Oh man, work coffee. Yeah, I'm already on my second cup of coffee myself. I find that if I drink too much of this stuff, then it starts giving me the shakes, so I can't really do it. But yeah, again, today's live stream was all about VRNE, how I got my foot in the door with or to get a master's degree. It wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I went all over the place and read a bunch of horror stories about people getting denied. People getting denied for grad school, people getting denied for all this stuff, even the bachelor's. Right? I was wondering how, why, and a lot of them was the justification. Oh, I didn't. I talked to my counselor, and they denied me because whatever the reason is. And I thought, I just kind of dissected all that stuff, and I thought, I want to present a tight package to my counselor. How can I do that? And I asked questions. We had an open discussion without kind of showing all my cards of what I want to do and how I'm going to do it. We had somewhat of an open discussion, like, hey, look, what's going to help me put my best foot forward here? Like, I want to do this. I want to do this. How do I put my best foot forward? And the VRD counselor was maybe he doesn't get a lot of people that ask him stuff like that. I mean, but I came off as respectful and personable, and because he's essentially the one who approves my stuff, so he was happy to share all that. Boston Rob, great to have you, man. Still snowed in here in Mass. Good stuff about VRD. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's been a while, dude. I hope the job's going well for you out there, dude. It's I know you've been going at it. Great stuff. Let me see. I had somebody jump on the live stream. I don't know what exactly happened there. Who knows? If that was, whoever it was, feel free to jump back in. It's all good. But yeah, it's my journey was not as difficult as I thought it'd be. All these horror stories I was reading about VRNE, uh, a lot of it didn't apply to me. You just got to come in there prepared. You got to come in there knowing that you can't just ask for something. You have to back it up with something. Don't just come in there and say, I want to go to college. Well, the RNE is not an education track. So you can't really just use it for college. You have to justify how that's going to make your life better in pivoting to a new career. Chris R, what's going on? I think you're on mute, brother.
Yeah, I just followed the link. I know exactly how it works.
Oh no, that just gives you the link to jump on the live stream with me. So I do this every so often. I don't know if you've been to this channel before. I do like a veterans and coffee thing every so often in the mornings, just to kind of connect with the veteran community and just kind of build camaraderie and things like that. Talk about what's going on. Get a lot of folks who come in here, a lot of regulars who want to jump in and talk about what they have going on. But yeah, that's all it is, man. It's just talking about VRNE this time around. Usually I don't talk about the VRNE stuff, but I figured enough people asked about it on Facebook and other places, and I've been reading Reddit that I thought I'd just share the journey that I just went through.
Yeah, I appreciate the info. And then, like, I'm going through my second round right now, so hopefully it sticks this time.
So are they making you reapply, or are you reapplying, or are you doing an appeal?
Yeah, so I just straight reapplied because I've been so busy with school. I really had to focus on that for a bit.
In school, like you're using your GI Bill right now?
Yeah, so I'm in nursing school right now. So I'm going to graduate in the summer. So I'm using GI Bill for that, and then intent is to use VRNE for the follow-on master's portion.
Okay.
Case scenario.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're going to have your nursing, but the track, I don't know, is it like the specialty that you're going for requires a master's?
So the program, I'm already accepted to the follow-on, but it's basically a second bachelor's program in an accelerated format, and then it switches to the master's portion. It's designed for the book and attend part-time for the master's portion.
Oh, and how much time does that take? I'm curious about the whole nursing thing. Like out of your day, out of your week, how many days a week are you in class, and how much of your time does that take?
It's almost all of it. Not to be funny, so what I'm doing is it's an accelerated format where it's 18 months, but you have to have a bachelor's to start it. So there's no electives. It's purely core classes, but those are. So for example, I'm in my second to last semester right now, and it's kind of slowing down, but I have class on Mondays. On Tuesdays, I have a clinical. So I'm at UCSD doing this population health clinical from 9 to 5. Wednesdays, I'm usually off. Today, I'm not. I got to go down to San Diego in a couple hours for a simulation lab. Thursdays, I have class, and Fridays are a clinical from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at UCSD Hillcrest. And then there's 3 other classes that are online that have homework and their whole thing. It's a frantic pace. It's a very intense thing.
Yeah, it sounds like it, man. And but you don't have a full-time job or anything like that anymore, right? Are you retired?
Yeah, I'm retired. Have
that's right. Yeah, you mentioned.
VA benefits, and then of course the BAH So it's,
Yeah.
close to the same paycheck. So it's thankfully don't need to work.
Yeah. Yeah. That definitely helps out. But man, they got you driving from Fallbrook all the way down to Hillcrest and
Yeah, it's the worst.
UCS.
It's just the worst. I'm ripping through audiobooks like a madman though, so it's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good thing about the drive. Yeah, because I was playing around with it too. I'm probably closer to SDSU than anything, but UCSD is right down the road, and I was even like, man, that's a little far. Let me check out these other schools. So, I can't imagine Fallbrook to UCSD, man. Nice area, but damn, that's a drive.
Yeah, I'll be glad to stabilize that at some point.
So when you go for your masters, then where is that located? Is that up by you, or is that still the drive down to UCSD?
So it switches more to a asynchronous format. There are some requirements for clinicals and some in person, but it's much more online / asynchronous, Zoom centric than what I'm doing right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what. So I was trying to stay away from like a lot too many in-person classes, but if it has anything to do with like healthcare, like psychology or anything like that, if you want a good experience, you're gonna have to sit in class. That's what I'm finding. And I also looked at one at UCSD as well, and yeah, it's a couple times a week. Like the first year is a couple times a week. Second year is more in depth. So it's if you want something good, you're gonna have to be in class. And there is a school that I heard, and this is all over like Reddit. I don't know if anybody else has heard this thing. It's a school in San Francisco, and folks who want to get the BAH rate here, especially San Francisco, which is like 4,500 a month. They will fly in from other states like once every 2 weeks or something, and actually sit in class and then fly back home just to get that rate. And I thought that's too much work, man, to be just for the BAH.
I don't doubt it. I mean, there's schools in San Diego. I have friends who go to them that they'll set it up so it's mostly online. There's just once every couple of weeks they go down there, so it meets the the legal qualification, I guess, of an in-person class.
Yeah, yeah. That's how mine is right now. It's in class twice a week, but only for like 2 hours, 3 hours per night, and the rest is online. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm also seeking like a licensure as well. So I was just having to talk with my counselor about it. Like, hey, if I want to pivot and get this licensure, how does that work? So I'm waiting for an answer back. I believe it is covered for the licensure, but time will tell. I'll report back when I find out more about this stuff. But as far as like the masters, I know that is completely covered. I want to say that it might be covered for you as well, because that's required for what you need. But I don't know if it will. It's not a rehab thing, so that's where it's kind of on the fence, and it's going to be counselor dependent.
Yeah,
because you have to justify it the right way.
My way I'm going to frame it this time is I'm using my GI Bill to do the nursing program, and like I could make arguments for it, but it's anywhere you look, it's going to say an RN does require some on the feet a lot, dragging people around, moving heavy stuff, etc. Right, and but there's an incredible array of jobs that do not require that. However, if it you go black and white, go underneath what it shows on whatever resource they have.
Yeah.
If I can argue with that, I can't argue with it. I'm going to get that on my own, quote unquote, with GI Bill, but then frame the advanced practice as obviously being less demanding, less affecting of my stuff I'm rated for. So that's what I'm going to talk about at this time, and we'll see what happens.
I like it. Yeah, man. Definitely reach out to me if I can be a resource and help you out in getting a second set of eyes or anything like that on your VRD stuff or your justification. I'm all game. I'm all game. Like I had mentioned, I have my experience is a little bit different than a lot of folks, simply because my counselor was also a former Marine, so we really hit it off. And I don't know, it was from what I was reading nightmare stories on Reddit, and I'm like, man, this guy seems pretty cool, actually. We were like, yeah, we were at Camp Pendleton, not at the same time, but we're just kind of sharing stories. So it almost was friendly in a way, but then I didn't want that to I didn't want to take his friendliness as I didn't want to get too comfortable. I'll put it like that. I still want to do my research and make sure I applied for this the right way. But I asked him a couple things about the behind the scenes and how things work, and he was really open about it. So I'm like, shoot, I've not seen other people talk about this part. Might as well share what I got.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when I was talking about my experience. The time frame when I applied was just the whole drawdown with Doge. There was
Yeah,
that stuff in the news about counselors having hundreds of cases at
yeah,
once because they lost because that Doge also affected them. So there were counselors leaving,
hmm,
and now I think I saw something on the VA news about they hired hundreds more counselors now, and so hopefully it's shaken out. But on top of that, San Diego is just there's an enormous amount of military people, from Navy, Marine Corps in the area, so they're kind of a busy area.
yeah, yeah. It
Hopefully,
is.
it was just bad timing for my time, and that's what didn't get the due diligence.
Yeah, I think that might have been it, man. Because I kind of had that experience too, and up until recently, actually, when they did like the government shutdown, um, like nobody was picking up the phone. I hadn't heard from anybody for several months, and I'm like, shoot. So I missed out on starting school several times. I was supposed to start last year, late last year, and then it just kept getting pushed back, pushed back, pushed back for some reason. And I couldn't get a hold of the counselor, and then I couldn't get a hold of my school stuff. So it was a mess between kind of the both of these things. And then I actually got a hold of him, and he's like, "Oh, my bad. Just was out of pocket. I have all these cases, etc. Completely understand. Not trying to piss the guy off, right? But can we get back on track with this?" But yeah, they do have a huge caseload, man, a huge caseload. And somebody was asking me about it too. How do I get in to be a VSO? And surprisingly, you have to have a master's degree to be a counselor as well.
I didn't know that. So it's
Yeah,
not definitely not an entry level job. You got to be
yeah, yeah. You
prepped
gotta
for
you
it.
gotta have a
Wow.
master's because I at first when I approached my counselor, I was like, "How do I do what you are doing?" He's like, "Well, you need a master's to do this." I'm like, "Well, can I, just like okay, approve my stuff then. I want to do what you're doing." But I quickly changed my psychology because I really want to get in there and help folks out. Same as you're doing, but I'm more on the psychology side, just kind of hearing folks and helping them navigate a little bit through life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I got a non VRNE education question.
Yeah,
So I'm assuming you, like a lot of us who win in a minute, qualify for that. What is that? The Rudisill Act? Are you familiar with that?
yeah. You got
Those
12 months
well, yeah.
of
Have you gone
GI
through
Bill
that
on the back of it.
process?
Yeah, yeah. So you have to apply for it via the VA.gov. And it doesn't take effect for a few months. Like I'm still waiting for mine. I applied for it. You have to fill out this form and everything, but then they apply the 12 months onto your GI Bill. So yeah, I'm pretty well versed on the Rudisill Act. Came
Okay.
out April of 2024, I think. Captain Rudisill sued the Supreme Court because couldn't use his 12 months from the time he went from the GI Bill to post 9/11 GI Bill. So he wanted to use those 12 months, but he couldn't. So he took it up to the Supreme Court. But you definitely have to apply for it via va.gov. It's not just a given.
Okay. Yeah, I need to dig into that.
Actually, let me look it up right now. Rudisill, because you got to find the link for it because the link always takes you to the Rudisill tree, and then you got to find a link to apply for it. They don't make it easy for you to apply for it. Rudisill Act. Yeah, here we go. Rudisill Act. It always takes you to the damn tree. Questions. Did you pay? Download, decision letter, how to create. No, see, let me share it on here. Yeah, there you go. So they tell you about it, but it's like, where do I click to go on this? So you have to fill out this VA form 22/1995, and that's what gets you in the door. You have to sign in, create all that stuff, and that's what kind of gets you in the door with submitting your Rudisill Act. And it takes a few minutes to do, but once it's pending, it'll show on there on your va.gov status, currently pending some kind of thing that you're doing, and that's the Rudisill thing. So good piece of gear though, gives you 12 months.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, man. Well, good stuff, man. Chris, yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man, and telling me about what you have going on. Definitely reach out to me if you want somebody to have just a second set of eyes or anything like that. You're right up the road for me, so that's cool. Especially when you come over to UCSD and make that drive. You mentioned audiobooks real quick, and I'm a big kind of audiobook and reader guy. What are you listening to right now?
So full disclosure, audiobooks are like my chill out break from driving back from something stressful coming home. So I'm kind of a big science fiction nerd.
Mm-hmm. So what's on your current reading list right now? What's on your playlist?
Attitudes toward
I have right now is it's a Ted Chiang book. It's he wrote hang on, he wrote something famous. That movie Arrival.
Okay.
But he has some short stories. So I'm going through that right now, and then just kind of whatever pops up.
Cool. Excellent, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a big audiobook guy too. I usually get the book, and then it's like I'll read the book a little bit, and when I'm in the car, I'll listen to it, and then I have to find my place back in the book at night when I go back. So I'm always back and forth with all this stuff. But it is a good release when you're actually driving and listening to some stuff, man. Ted Chiang. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Hey, well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Definitely reach out if you got anything.
Yeah, we'll do. I'll just, we're connected on Facebook, so it's, easy button.
You know where to find me.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right. Absolutely, dude. Yeah. So that was Chris R. talking about how he's doing the pivot. He was an EOD officer in the Marine Corps, making the pivot to nurse practitioner, which is pretty cool. And that's the beauty of this whole thing, of this whole VRE thing, is if it affects your service-connected disabilities, you can make that pivot to a different career field. Use the benefit. You earned it. Use the benefit. Why not? Use it or lose it. So with that, hopefully that helps out. I made a whole video on this stuff. Let me see if I can find it and give you all the link. I actually sat down and did this whole video on walking you through the BLS.gov and walking you through how I got all the job postings and how I put the package together and all that. Let me get you that link to that video. Specifically, it is titled VRE Masterclass. And oh gosh, I got so many freaking videos on where the hell did I put that thing? VRE Masterclass. I'm gonna put, oh, here it goes. I'm gonna put that link in the description or in the comments here. My VRE Masterclass video, just to kind of show you exactly what I did Again, why is it rejecting my comment? Share another way. Let me go on YouTube here real quick. I'm using different software. Bamsis, where you at? Let's go here. I'll get you the link. I'll get you the link. Link to VR. There you go. Share it on there. Link to the VRNE masterclass. Check it out if you haven't already done so. It goes more in depth than this live stream did. Okay. I didn't cover all the BLS.gov stuff, actually going in there, checking out the Bright Outlook stuff. I didn't go through all the Indeed and LinkedIn job postings or anything like that. I do that in this video, in this masterclass video. So definitely check that out if you want to get your foot in the door. One thing I'll leave you with is this. When you are applying for the RNE, okay, make sure that you know where you want to go. Make sure you know what the end result, where you want to be, what's required for you to get there, and how that affects your service-connected disabilities. Okay, how your current situation right now, if you have a job, or maybe if you don't, how your current situation right now is affecting your service-connected disabilities, and how this career field, this education towards a career field can make your life better. Okay, that is part of your justification. Your justification has to be tight. Okay, if it's not, you're going to have holes in it, and then your counselor may not be as nice as mine. They're going to start poking holes in it. I've seen some nightmare stories out there. Trust me. You can read it all over Reddit if you want. They're going to start poking holes. Don't allow that to happen. Okay, so definitely check out M28 Charlie, M28C. I put the link in the comments. That is what the VRNE counselors go off of when they're actually doing your evaluations for your request for a college degree or employment or whatever it is. That's what they use. As long as you know what they're reading and you can justify, you can articulate what you want, that you should have no issues, unless of course your counselor just doesn't want to approve anything. But once you get your foot in the door, once you get approved, you have your school, you go to school, you request your tech package, they send you your laptop, they send you the printer, the software you need, depending on what you need. If you're going in to be like a mechanic or something like that, they're going to buy as long as you can justify it, they're going to buy your tools and all that stuff. So there are things that you can request to help you along the way that you need to be successful in school. You can request all this stuff, but definitely justify it the right way. I got justification examples in that link I just sent to the VRNE masterclass video. I covered some of this live stream. If you're just jumping on right now, check that video that I put in the comments. I put a lot of justification information in there on how to word your justification effectively, and what I did to get my foot in the door with a master's degree. Aside from that, they're going to ask you for periodic updates. How are your grades, how's everything going? Understand that. And one thing that I did recently learn that I shared on here is that under subsection K of that M28 Charlie, if you have kids and maybe you need childcare, there is a potential, depending on, again, how you justify it, that VRNE can cover your childcare expenses. Okay, check out subsection K under M28 Charlie. Okay, there's a section on there that talks about childcare. So something I recently came across, thought I'd share the wealth with the community here. But yeah, that's what I got. That's how I got my foot in the door with a master's degree, for a master's degree. And I'm making a complete pivot from military justice in the military during my time in the Marine Corps to a master's degree in psychology. So any questions, please shoot it below in the comments. Happy to help any way I can. Happy to share the wealth. I'll stand by for a minute for any last minute questions, and then I gotta go have some breakfast. I haven't had breakfast yet. It's damn, oh shit, it's damn near noon. It'll be damn lunch. Ronan Bruv, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Yeah, we definitely got to link up, man, and talk about that VRNE channel. I love this stuff. It's such a good benefit. It's definitely slept on. I can't believe sometimes when I talk to veterans and they're like, "Yeah, I don't. What is VRNE? Holy crap, man! Have a seat. How much time you got, dude? Don't use your GI Bill. Use your VRNE first. Um, it's such a good benefit. They pay for everything, and they give you a monthly housing allowance. Come on now, a monthly housing allowance, BAH equivalent to E5 with dependents BAH. Come on now, why wouldn't you use it? Andres Velasquez, muchas gracias. Good to have you, man. Hopefully everything goes well, whatever your route is, and yeah, we'll go from there. Any questions, you can hit me up, thegreenlogbook@gmail.com. I will put a second set of eyes on your stuff if you want. If you need more in-depth stuff, help with research and all that, I have another way of getting that done. Reach out to me. But as far as like any light questions or anything like that, that's where you can get a hold of me, or in the comments. I will just answer the comments here. With that, I appreciate it, everybody. I'm going to go get some breakfast. Go out and get what you have earned, ladies and gentlemen. You earned VRNE benefits. Go ahead and use them before they are gone.